Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me, ready to take you through an exciting Saturday morning in sports. Alex, it was a crazy week this week.
It was something, man. We had something, travel issues on Monday, and then the show got a little hectic, and then Tuesday, obviously, huge Big 12 Media Days. Wednesday, Big 12 Media Days. Thursday was fun. And then yesterday was a little bit more chill, and it was good to get back and talk some sports.
Yeah, I mean, Monday the Jazz trade John Collins.
Yes.
Tuesday and Wednesday were Big 12 Media Days.
Yes.
Frank Layden, unfortunately, passed away on Wednesday. Diana Sabo, athletic director at Utah State, that news that she's leaving came out, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday.
Yes.
And then yesterday, on Friday, the Jake Retzlaff news came out that he is withdrawing from BYU. So we basically had
something happened.
Bombshell news every single day.
Something happened every day, man.
On a random week in July, which is good for us because sometimes these summer months can get slow. But we're always on our toes, Alex. We are always ready to bring you our thoughts and opinions on what goes on.
Absolutely. And we're here to break it down on a Saturday.
Hope you've got great plans for your weekend out there. Middle of July, it's been nice weather. A lot of fun things to do this time of year.
Absolutely, man. And, last weekend was the 4th, right?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, the Friday.
Yeah, last weekend hung out and celebrated, I guess. And then now we're here for another weekend, and hopefully we get some carne asada this weekend, man.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
Were you, I know it was a busy week. Do you have a highlight? Did you have time to get out and do anything?
No, not really.
Pretty swamped.
Not really. Actually, no, I do have a highlight. College Football 26 came out.
Oh, did you get it right away?
I got it, and I've began to play it last night, and it's fun. It's so far so good, man.
That's cool. I bet a lot of our listeners probably got it. I know it was a big deal last year. I'm probably not going to buy the new one, but I definitely get the appeal. Did you jump right into the Dynasty? Or
absolutely. Jumped right into Dynasty.
Who'd you pick?
And picked Delaware State.
Nice.
Give me the Blue Hens, man. The new team. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Parker producing Behind the Glass. You got a highlight of your week? No highlight from Parker. Nothing really from me as well. I was during media days, I had to also produce for DJ and PK. So Tuesday and Wednesday, I had long days, early mornings, and then, I guess just working all week. It was a fun week, though. I had fun at work.
It was.
I guess I could say that.
It was a fun week. Hectic, but it was good.
All right. Yeah, let's jump into some of this. I want to start off with media days.
Let's do it.
We'll start off with BYU because I think, especially with the Jake Retzlaff news coming out yesterday, I'm really intrigued and fascinated by this quarterback battle that's going on at BYU. And I know that it's tough to know what exactly to expect, I guess. And you go back to last summer, and they were having the quarterback battle between Gary Bohannon and Jake Retzlaff. And it seemed like Retzlaff did a great job last year, double-digit wins, Alamo Bowl, all that, and BYU was looking forward, I'm sure, to not having to go through a quarterback battle. Now they are, and it's between a true freshman in Bear Bachmeier and then two guys that have never taken snaps for BYU in McKay Hillstead and Trayson Bourget. But the interesting part about the BYU Cougars is the rest of that Alamo Bowl roster, essentially. I mean, they lost some guys, but their core players are all back.
For the most part, they're returning.
This is a team that was set to make a run for the Big 12 title game this year. Unfortunately, with the question mark at the quarterback position, that's the most important position. So going into this season, without a for sure answer at quarterback, we'll see. But again, that's what they went through last year,
right?
And it turned out just fine,
right?
So I can't wait to see who trots out week one.
I think for BYU right now, it's a little bit hard to tell without knowing who that quarterback is going to be, and without kind of knowing at what level that quarterback will play. Because I mean, we've seen McKay Hillstead, just not in a BYU uniform. And we've seen Bourget, just not in a BYU uniform. So, I mean, they have college football experience. So, I mean, that's a plus. But the reality is, without knowing where their quarterback stands, it's kind of hard to gauge where the ceiling of this team really is. I can tell you where their floor is, Christian. With how much they're returning, they're still at least a bowl-eligible team.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, it would take an unmitigated disaster to not be a bowl-eligible team like we saw with Utah last year. But
I think I think with how much they return, especially on that defense, man.
Defense is tough. It's one of the best units in the Big 12.
I think BYU and Utah were 1 and 2 last season in the Big 12 for scoring defenses, and I think that's massive. That you return a large majority of that defense, and then even let's say it's McKay Hillstead that starts at QB1. He's got incredible weapons on the offense. Most notably Chase Roberts, and then LJ Martin, who I think will have a phenomenal year if he can stay healthy.
That's the thing with LJ Martin is staying healthy. He was banged up all year,
right?
Literally from week 1 and training camp, essentially. But then he came back and he seemed to be close to fully healthy, if not fully healthy, for that Alamo Bowl. Had a great performance there, and it kind of reminded you, like, yeah, this is a really good player,
right? And
the consistency at running back is not something that BYU had last year, and that was kind of one of their weak points on offense, aside from turnovers. So it sounds like they're very excited about having LJ Martin back to full health, and not just him, but a ton of other players behind him. But before we diverge too far, of course, there were media days, right? So we got the opportunity to hear from a lot of these players, a lot of these coaches. So that's what I want to do in these first couple segments. Let's replay a few cuts. First off, I want to start with head coach Kalani Sitake because, of course, bombarded with questions about the quarterback situation, right, the quarterback battle. So this is what Kalani Sitake had to say about his group of quarterbacks going into this battle.
I think it's going to be a little bit different. I mean, last year we were going through the same thing and trying to figure out who our quarterback was going to be with Gary Bohannon and Jake Retzlaff.
That's right.
So we've been through quarterback battles before as a staff. A-Rod's done this before. I think the key is allowing McKay Hillstead to play and be himself and utilize his skill set, and then Trace Bourget to do the same thing, and then Bear Bachmeyer to do the same thing, and then Emerson. We have 4 quarterbacks that can spin it. So the goal is allow them to feel confident. That's the prerequisite that we have, is that you play quarterback, you should be able to throw the ball accurately. They can all do that stuff. Now the question is, who do we sink the reps into, and how do we create an environment where they can compete and actually earn the spot? And so as we go through that, I wish we could have done that earlier, but now that it's been on us, we have to do that in camp. When we figure that out, I'll let you know, but we have until the first game to get that done. Even throughout the whole process, that we've done this before. We've had a situation where we played a true freshman before. So the key is, though, having the staff all together. Other people are going to have to step up, but I think a lot of people will rally around this.
So there you have it. I mean, I like the tidbit at the end where he says the other key is having the staff all together. They didn't lose any assistant coaches.
Right.
Especially, Aaron Roderick in that offensive side, and the success that they were able to find last year with Jake Retzlaff and the rest of the offense. I think that's huge. But then, of course, the big tidbit is we've got 4 quarterbacks that can spin it, is what Coach Sitake says. And I know because I've seen it, McKay Hillstead can spin it. And I've said this before, I just speak on it because I've watched him play. I produced all of the games that he played at Utah State. I watched all of his performances. So I can speak to his ability the best. I haven't really seen the other guys, but I know for a fact Hillstead can spin it. His biggest knock, his biggest weakness is just his size.
Right.
He's shorter. And, that can hurt as far as seeing over the offensive line. But then he also likes to get out and run outside the pocket, which he can do. It's just an issue of taking those hits. And at his size, that's why ultimately his freshman season at Utah State didn't go as planned, because he was injured. He ended up getting injured after becoming the starting quarterback because he was running the ball. And it's tough when you've got a guy, you think of Cam Rising, obviously. You've got a guy who's willing to put it on the ground, do what it takes, be tough, pick up a tough first down, but taking those shots, it gets to you quickly.
100%. And, that's a kid that I've been able to watch since his high school days, and I know what he's capable of, and I think he has a high ceiling, and I hope he's able to reach that potential if he's able to get that nod at the number one quarterback position at BYU. And I've heard a lot of positive things about Bear Bachmeier, but I would tread lightly about starting a freshman.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what's tough. I would also agree. I mean, even Mitch Harper, I was listening on the way in. Mitch Harper joined JJ and Alex yesterday, was talking a little bit about Bear Bachmeier, and it sounds like he has some true skill there. And obviously BYU was in on him from day one, not even just barely in the spring transfer portal. They tried to recruit him right out of high school, and they were able to flip him before the season starts and bring him to Provo. But again, to compare to Utah, because the situation is a little similar. Like,
right.
Yeah, Utah
right.
trotted out a true freshman
Yes.
to start games, and that really submarined their entire season. I just don't think that's a good idea, especially when the rest of your roster is built to compete and go all in on this championship, on a championship run, essentially this season. That's where it's like, okay, is the true freshman your best option? Now, I'll tell you, I mean, the best option is the best player. And maybe that is Bear Bachmeier. Who knows? I mean, they've got fall camp coming up here soon to figure that out. But I am a little weary.
I would be too.
Yeah.
I would be too. We've spun this record before, Christian.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
Very
we
recently.
saw it last year, right? And so there's no doubt in my mind that Bear Bachmeier is talented and can spin the ball. But at the same time, like I said, I'm at a point where the true freshman quarterbacks tread lightly.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, and you don't know what you're going to be able to get out of these true freshmen.
It's a tough conference.
Right.
It's a very tough conference.
Right.
It's one of the deepest conferences in the country, maybe if not the deepest, right? And it's going to take a lot of skill for a true freshman to come in and really, really succeed. So
I would agree.
We'll see what happens here in the coming weeks. Some other news from BYU, the Big 12 for Media Days got rid of the media poll, as far as ranking the teams beforehand, but they still released the, preseason all Big 12 teams. Interestingly enough, a point that caused much controversy here in the state of Utah, no linebackers were selected. There were I don't think any defensive players at all, right?
Ooh,
from BYU or Utah?
Not that I can remember.
But the big thing is no linebackers. And you look at the linebackers at BYU, Isaiah Glasker and Jack Kelly, and then the dudes also at Utah, with Lander Barton and guys like that.
Yes.
To not have any of those guys representing the conference on the preseason team, I feel like that's a pretty big miss, especially considering what Jack Kelly did for this BYU team last year after coming in from Weber State. And he was tremendous. And Isaiah Glasker is right up there as well, especially after his performance against Colorado. I mean, he really splashed onto the scene. So I think that the BYU linebacker room is going to take that personally, Alex. And, they were buttoned up at Media Day, trying not to make a big deal out of it, all business. But it's good for a group like that to have a chip on their shoulder, to have a reason to perform. But I want to hear, this is what Jack Kelly had to say. Parker, remind me, is it Glasker or Kelly? Okay, sorry. Isaiah Glasker was asked about no BYU linebackers on the preseason all Big 12 team.
Yeah, I wouldn't say too much about it. I'm just surprised my teammates didn't get it. They're at least one of them, but I don't know. No disrespect to the Big 12. They always got their preseason picks, but it's really about the postseason, and we'll see about the postseason. So.
Yeah, I like it.
I can agree more.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, the preseason all-conference team is fun. It's it's good to look at. And in the case of like the BYU linebackers, you can potentially take that personally because I think that they should be on that list.
Little motivation,
exactly. But Glasker is 100% right. The one that matters is the one at the end of the season. And that's the important one. We can come into the preseason and do an all-conference team without seeing anybody take a single snap this season, right? And try to try to make the best team out of the conference with those guys, but the reality is the one that matters is the one at the end of the season after everything's said and done, and after you go and you show on the field that you are what you're worth.
Preseason all-conference team isn't an actual accolade. Like, that's not an actual, it's like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool that they're watching me, I guess. But, like, after a season or after a player's career, that's when you're like, oh, yeah, he was.
Do you remember anybody? Do you remember anybody who made preseason all-conference team last year?
No.
Because I don't. I can tell you who made the all-conference team after the season.
Right.
Will Farron was there.
Exactly.
Keelan Marion was there. But I can't tell you anybody who was on that preseason all-conference team last season.
Because it doesn't matter.
Because, it doesn't matter. And like I said, Glasker's 100% right. The one that matters is the one that comes out at the end of the year.
And we know they're going to show out. They know they're going to show out. BYU fans know that they're going to show out. I mean, this is a really, truly phenomenal group of linebackers at BYU. I mean, Glasker is as athletic as you can get for a linebacker. If you don't know his story, it's pretty interesting. I believe he started as a wide receiver and then played safety for BYU. And then they were like, you know what, let's beef you up and get you at linebacker because you've got real, that you got to have instincts. You got to have a certain mentality to play linebacker, and Glasker has that. So they transitioned him to linebacker, but because he used to be a wide receiver, because he used to be a safety, he's so fast in his hips. He's able to, he's more fluid in the hips than a linebacker traditionally is. And you've got that versus Jack Kelly right next to him, who is your more traditional, tough SOB, stopping dudes at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Like I really had a fun time because I played linebacker in high school. I wasn't that good, but I played linebacker, right? So I really enjoyed watching them because it was like, man, these dudes are what it's all about.
Absolutely, and you can tell that they command that defense, man. They are leaders, and the leadership that they bring to that defense and they brought to that defense last season, I think, was a massive part as to why this defense was so successful.
Yep.
And I think if you're BYU and the BYU fans, I think they should be feeling incredibly lucky that they return not just one of that tandem, but they got both of those guys back, and I think they're poised to have some huge years for BYU. 100%.
I agree. Some other news that came out from the BYU side of Big 12 Media Days, Keanu Tanavasa made some waves, and we don't have to get into that because it was overblown. It was non-news to me, so I don't really want to get into that aspect. But I do want to bring him up because he is a massive addition for the Cougars. And you throw in the whole in-state rivalry thing coming over from Utah. It's different if, it's like a random guy who's maybe going to make some plays, maybe not going to make some plays. Tanavasa was one of Utah's best players last year. And he is expected to come in and not only be a good player for BYU, but be a leader on the field. So I think that aspect is interesting. And everything that came out of Media Days, even Stone, like our tech that was helping pull people over for interviews. He doesn't really know. He's not a football guy, really. He's not a sports guy. During a break, he was like, man, this Tanavasa guy is one of the realest, most down-to-earth people I've ever met. And that's what I've heard from everybody who's talked to him. So He is a great leader, great personality, and I'm expecting him to have a huge year for BYU because in that system, I mean, the reason that you see those linebackers play so well is because the defensive front is eating up blocks, eating up double teams, and that's what Tanavasa is really, really good at. Not only that, but he can get off those blocks and make plays himself in the backfield. So that's interesting because they didn't really have a monster presence like that on the interior defensive line last year. So I am excited to see what Tanavasa brings on the field and then from a leadership standpoint because coming into this group on defense, I mean, they're full of leaders, but Tanavasa is a very, very special type of leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, with how much obviously the move to BYU is huge, right? Going from Utah to BYU, it's going to take a lot of the headlines. And I feel like throughout the course of the season, Keanu Tonavasa is going to be under a microscope. He's going to be under a magnifying glass the entire season. Everybody's going to be nitpicking every single thing that he does.
Yes.
And looking at everything that he does because of what's happened.
Because of the controversy.
Yes,
Yeah.
because of what's happened this offseason. Right? And so he needs to follow that up by just putting his head down, continuing to work, continuing to get better, and being a leadership presence on that, not just on the defensive line, but I mean the defense as a whole. And you're right, Christian. He's from the couple times that I've gone up to the Hill to record our collect our sound and bring in those interviews for the station. I've seen this guy individually go up to every single media member that was up there and have a conversation with them. Man, he's a very down to earth guy, a very good guy, and I hate that why he made headlines this Big 12 Media Days.
It's an interesting thing because obviously the rivalry is more than just a rivalry.
Right. Right.
That's the reality of the situation, whether you think it's silly or not. Like it's very deep, and it's intense, and I love it. I honestly do. I love it and hate it at the same time. But I could understand why Utah fans would be upset. But I mean, on the other hand, it's like that's the reality of college football now. Any given player could transfer any given year. You never know what's going to happen. It was just the way that it happened as far as, not claiming there was it wasn't about the money and stuff like that. Who knows what the true motives were? I think there's nothing wrong with just saying like, yeah, they're taking care of me and my family. They're taking care of me for my future. Like, I don't know, but that's a whole aside. I know that, like you said, he is going to be under a microscope from
all
Utah
season
fans.
long.
And of course, with them now being in the same conference again, they're going to play. And this year, it's down in Provo, and it's going to be huge. And of course, Tonavasa was asked about it at Media Day, so I want to hear what he had to say about inevitably when he has to play Utah.
Everything that I want it to be, in the sense that it's probably some of the highest competition that I'll play because of the way that I was trained and refined with those individuals. Yeah. That offensive line that's returning, I've gone against for 3 years. I know them and they know me. And so I'm extremely, extremely excited to play against them. Scally knows me, Coach Witt knows me, Coach Ellis, they know who I am. And so being able to play against them and their strategies and who they are and what they're bringing to the table, that's going to be the level of competition that I want to play with the amount of passion and energy that I'm blessed to play with. And I'll be able to siphon all of that into my performance.
Yeah, I like it. That's a great point. I mean, this is at practice and all those reps that you get in practice. He's going against this offensive line. He knows these guys. He knows the coaches. The coaches know him. That's tough. And, I don't know if anything happened, but like sometimes summer camp gets heated. Training camp gets heated between the offensive and defensive lines. I'm not trying to say that Tonavasa ever got in a fight or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised because it happens. That's part of summer camp, right?
It's part of the competition.
So now you put that into a game situation and into I'm sure the Utah players feel like, hey, you did us kind of dirty.
Not just any game situation, man.
The
rivalry.
Right, the rivalry. So, yeah, you've got Utah's side saying, hey, you did us dirty. You've got Tonavasa saying, hey, I'm doing what's best for me. I trust my heart with my decision. I think I made the right move, and I'm here to prove that I'm right. And you have so much passion fueling both sides. I think
absolutely. As
far as right now here in July, that's the storyline that I'm watching for when these two teams play.
Right. It's not some comments that were taken out of context from Keanu Tonavasa this week, right? It is the storyline when it comes to Keanu Tonavasa is one. I think he's a phenomenal fit for BYU, and I think he's going to thrive in Jay Hill's under Jay Hill. I think he's going to absolutely thrive. Jay Hill is a phenomenal coordinator. I'm excited to watch that partnership and him joining that BYU defense. I think it's going to be great. That's the storyline you need to watch. The storyline you need to watch is Tonavasa taking on Utah.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, in October.
October 18th.
Those are the fun ones to watch. It's not the misconstrued, taken out of context comments that were going all over social media.
Yeah. October 18th. It's going to be a fun weekend, Alex.
The rivalry, man.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up next on the other side, we're going to get into the Utah side of things. Want to hear Coach Whittingham opened up about coming back for another year. I thought that was super interesting, so we'll get to that next. Stay with us. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me. Thanks for making us part of your Saturday morning. Hope you've got great weekend plans ahead of you, whether it's barbecuing, out fishing, out on the boat, whatever. We live in a great area.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the wonderful outdoors is so accessible. It's nice, so take advantage of it.
You're within an hour drive of some of nature's greatest spots.
Yeah.
In just about any direction, right? You go an hour west, you're out in the Salt Flats. You go an hour east, you're in the Wasatch Mountains. North, south. There's stuff to do everywhere, man.
Hour north, you're in Brigham City.
Oh, come on.
Love it up there.
Oh, I've never been, man.
You've driven through there, right?
I've driven
been
through it.
Lowe's.
I've driven past it, but I've never, stopped in Brigham City.
It's almost, okay. Earlier it was a joke, but right now I'm being serious. It's almost peach season in Brigham City. You got to go up there and try some Brigham City peaches.
All right.
Late summer.
Okay. I'm going to do it.
Anyway, let's get back to media days, Alex. Last segment, we were talking about BYU and everything they've got going on with their quarterback situation. I want to mention, we briefly brought up Jake Retzlaff. We're going to talk about that situation later in the show. I wanted to focus more on media days and what Coach Kalani Sitake and some of the players had to say. That's why I didn't really bring up, we didn't get in too deep about Jake Retzlaff. We're going to talk about that later, coming up around 11:30. So stay tuned for that. Right now, though, I want to talk about the University of Utah and their kind of thing that they've got going on, because they are coming off of back-to-back very disappointing years after back-to-back Pac-12 championships. And so it's interesting because, especially last year, Utah gets accepted into the Big 12, and a lot of fans on Twitter were online talking about how that's beneath them and it's just a stopgap while they await a Big 10 invite, and they were going to run through the Big 12 conference and they were going to win. And admittedly, they were picked first. They were picked to win the conference by the media and all that. And then it was a disaster, 5-7, due to a myriad of injuries, including to Cam Rising for the second straight season. Just crazy. Like, even just thinking about the Gatorade cooler incident, it's like, I can't believe that is how a player's career essentially ends.
It's
at
wild,
Utah,
man.
for somebody as legendary as Cam Rising. But anyways, that's all in the past, and now Utah is trying to move on and trying to get back to being an elite program in this country. I mean, you look at, again, those back-to-back Pac-12 championships, and even the couple years before that, like they were getting up there as far as blue blood football. They were one of the more respected programs in the country.
Yes.
So that's what they're trying to get back to this season.
The amount of respect that this program earned after those back-to-back Pac-12 championships, I think, it's put Utah in a completely different light. And I think that's probably why it's so disappointing that through the course of injuries and turbulent seasons, right, you follow that up with an 8-4 year, and then you follow that up with a 5-7 year in your first season in a new conference. And so I think right now Utah's in a really great position, right? Because they're kind of back to being an underdog.
Yeah.
And that's where Utah has always wanted to be, and that's where they've always wanted to thrive, is in that underdog role.
Maybe it's no coincidence that as soon as they were not the underdog anymore is when they started to underperform. But I like how you phrased it right there, Alex. You said they earned respect after those Pac-12 championships. They earned enough respect for everybody to look at this program after last season and say, hey, that's the anomaly. That's not the Utah brand that we're used to. We trust Kyle Whittingham to bounce back because he is a great coach and he's done it and he knows how to fix things.
Right.
And so when you talk about respect, that's what respect is. Any other program has a 5-7 year, they're picked last in the preseason poll, right? Like
Right.
people, or not last, towards the bottom, whatever. Houston, Cincinnati. Nobody bats an eye when those guys finish 5-7.
UCF.
Nobody expects anything
Right.
the next season from those programs. Utah goes 5-7, and people say, no, that's not Utah. They are bouncing back.
I mean, and you look at the conversations, right, between people here in state and even nationally, the conversation has completely shifted, right? It's not, will Utah bounce back? It's now, this team will bounce back.
Expect Utah to bounce back.
They're expected to bounce back, right? National media is coming out and saying, look, I think Utah has a good shot at a Big 12 championship if they can stay healthy.
And that's what's fun about media days is you've got all these, like you're saying, national media people going down and kind of getting that outside perspective. I saw a lot of tweets, and it's like, walking away from Big 12 media days, one of the big takeaways was Utah football expects to be back.
Yes.
And everybody expects them to be back.
Yes.
So anyways, building on top of all that, Coach Kyle Whittingham, of course, has been around forever. They have the coach in waiting in Morgan Scalley, and there was even a decision on whether or not Kyle Whittingham was going to return for this 2025 season, and ultimately he said he decided to come back, but there was a period right there for a little bit where it was unknown, and he said ultimately he was going to end up doing what was best for the program, and that led to him coming back. He was asked kind of about that at media days, and I love his answer. I want to play it first, and then we'll riff on it.
Let me just say this, that last year was so frustrating and so disappointing. Couldn't possibly have said, okay, that's it. I just couldn't have walked away on that note. It was the most frustrating year of my coaching career, and I would have never been able to come to terms with that, to have that be the last of a career.
I could have never come to terms with that, with last season being my last season ever.
Right.
That shows, that's everything you want to know about Whit. That's his personality. That's his tough drive. That's his competitive motor. I could imagine somebody who has achieved as much as Kyle Whittingham and means as much to a program as Kyle Whittingham having the train wreck dumpster fire disaster that was 2024 Utah football be your final season in coaching. That would, talk about a big regret.
Right.
So, of course, it makes sense that he wants to come back and right things.
At someone at his caliber and for everything he's done for that program, right, that is quite possibly one of the worst ways to go if he would have gone, right? Yeah. So I think it's great that he's trying to come back and just end on one more positive note and get one more good season out of his guys, and I think that's great. Obviously, it's gonna be the big question surrounding the season again, right? Is this going to be Kyle Whittingham's last and final season? We'll see. And
it's not going to be easy. It's not as good as Kyle Whittingham is, and for as much as he's done, nothing is guaranteed. Just because he's done it before doesn't guarantee that he's going to do it again. And it's nice to sit here and say, oh yeah, they've earned all this respect. Oh yeah, they did it as recently as just a couple years ago. That doesn't guarantee anything.
But now it's time to go show it.
It's time to go show it. And again, it's not just one down year. It's 2 down years in a row.
Yeah.
Where they were like, oh, yeah, that probably wasn't as good of a season as we were expecting. And so that kind of raises questions, makes you wonder a little bit. It's like, okay, are they legit? Like, can they be legit? Or is this what Utah football is? And so, of course, everybody internally over there thinks they are. Externally, we do have these expectations, right? That's what we're talking about this segment is we think they can come back, but there is a very real possibility that that's just, Utah football hit their ceiling a couple years ago, and it's going to take a little bit of a reset under Morgan Scalley and everything before they can match that ceiling again. But we'll see. The hard thing is the injuries because
right.
The injuries are what probably have derailed them the last couple of years, right? So you hope that they avoid that, but that's part of the game.
You mentioned that, maybe a couple of years ago we already saw Utah hit their ceiling, but I find that hard to believe because of what we've seen Whittingham and this coaching staff do in the past.
I guess.
There's been times where they have been able to do more with less.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
And obviously, I think last season was the outlier. Last season was the outlier, and they'll have a good opportunity to bounce back. I think Utah will find their stride. They have a rough start to conference play. They have Texas Tech early, right? But I feel like if Utah can find some sort of stride up until the very end of the season, they're going to be in the conversation of will they make it to the Big 12 championship.
It's just you got to find that stride. The offense has to click, and it's
100%.
It's tough because you're bringing in a new offensive coordinator, you're bringing in a new quarterback, and fortunately, the quarterback played for the offensive coordinator last season, so he knows the system. You've got a running back that knows the system, even if he's not going to be the primary guy. But it sounds like, and of course, this is what you're going to hear from everybody, even the bottom feeders. It sounds like the offense is going to be good. Like they're not going to come out and say that it looks bad. But
yeah, of course.
I am interested to see Devin Dampier. And you know what? I saw some opinions online. I saw a lot of people saying that Devin Dampier was an average level Mountain West player. And that's simply not true. He was the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year.
Right.
Like he was.
He led the fourth best offense in the country. Right. We're not just talking Mountain West.
Right.
It was the fourth
country,
best.
Fourth highest scoring offense in the entire country.
There you go.
He was always going to transfer to a power level school, whether or not he was following Jason Beck to Utah. Like that was always in the cards because that's what happens when you are the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. You're going to get power level teams hitting up your phone, hitting up your agent and saying, hey, let's do this.
Right.
So, of course, Dampier is going to come to Utah. And I think it's a very big insult to say that he was an average level Mountain West player. I thought it was funny. Maybe it was trolling. Maybe I just got trolled.
Maybe. But at the same time, right?
There are very real questions.
It's the same conversation we had with the linebackers at BYU, right? Not making the all-conference preseason team.
Yeah.
Maybe Devin Dampier's looking at stuff like that too and using that to fuel what could, like I said, hopefully and ultimately be a season where Utah is competing for the Big 12.
Yeah. It's and if they are competing for anything, Devin Dampier is going to be a big part of that. And I know that fixing his turnovers is a big emphasis. I know that kind of raising the touchdown number through the air is a big emphasis.
Yes.
He finished 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions through the air. Of course, all of his damage he did on the ground. He's incredible. He's electric on the ground. So that's the big emphasis. But it's, again, Kyle Whittingham, Devin Dampier.
Yeah.
Head coach, quarterback.
When it comes to Devin Dampier, that's the thing I'm looking at, right? Is can he cut down the interceptions? Because we've talked about it before on the show, Christian. 12 is a lot.
Yeah.
12 interceptions, and it's not a good ratio when you go 1-1. And so you need to improve, right, your passing game. And I feel like if Devin Dampier continues the production that he's already had in the running game that we saw at New Mexico, and is able to add a passing game to that, watch out.
Yeah. He's a very legit player. He's just got to stay healthy. And I just say that because quarterback at Utah has not been able to stay healthy the last 2 years. And not only quarterback, but literally every other position on the roster.
It's a sensitive subject for Utah fans.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But I'm excited because it's a little bit different than what we've seen at Utah.
Right.
It's a little bit of an outside-the-box sort of thing. And then you get into the whole wrinkle with it wasn't just Kyle Whittingham who chose Jason Beck. Morgan Scalley played a big part in the decision because he is the head coach in waiting. So you want to make decisions that are going to make him comfortable when it's his time, and make sure everybody's on the same page there. But I ultimately, circling back to the original point, like it is time for Utah to bounce back. Back-to-back down years seem like that's the anomaly right now. That seems like that is the outlier. And because of the respect that Utah has earned, because of the respect that Kyle Whittingham has earned, you expect a turnaround this year.
Will we see it? That's the question.
I think so. I mean, they're going to be bowl eligible. I would be absolutely floored.
I would be
if they're not
shocked.
bowl eligible.
I would be shocked if this team doesn't at least make bowl eligibility.
Yeah.
Right? If they go any less than 6 wins, that would be a massive, massive failure. Even with bringing in Devin. I mean, obviously, like, even if this team can stay somewhat healthy, they have a pretty high floor.
Yeah.
Right? And so if they're not able to make a bowl this season, then alarms will be raised.
Last time that Utah football had back-to-back below 6-win seasons, 2012 and 2013, 5-7, both years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they did just go 5-7 last year.
Uh-oh.
But, no, I mean, my point obviously being it's been a long time under Kyle Whittingham that this team has not been bowl eligible back-to-back seasons. So, all right, we got to take a break. Coming up next, we'll hit technical fouls. There was a funny golf course fight that took social media by storm. We'll jump into that. Deion Sanders was very funny at the podium, as we all expected. So we'll get into some technical fouls next. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for technical fouls, one of our favorite segments every week. And Alex, I've been planning this one since early on in the week. Sometimes some gold just comes out and you're like, you pocket it. Can't wait to talk about this on Saturday.
Yeah.
And this is one of those situations.
I can tell you're excited.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So, and I'm excited that you haven't seen this yet.
I have not. I have no idea what this is.
So, okay, long story short, I'll set this up. It's at a golf course in Canada.
Yes.
This guy is playing slowly. The group behind him says, "Hey, can you speed it up?" or whatever. The guy starts on purpose being even more slow. And then they start yelling at him some more, and the slow guy is clearly he's had some drinks, and he's just yelling, and eventually he charges at the guy yelling at him. Not knowing the guy yelling at him is Nick Tarnasky, former NHL player. He played for a long time for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he was known as, what do they call it, a goon. That's kind of the term in the NHL, like guys that their sole purpose on the ice is to get under the other team's skin and cause some fights. All right, so the guy charges Tarnasky. Tarnasky literally throws him into the pond. The guy charges him again. Tarnasky grabs him by the collar, like you see in a hockey fight. He grabs him by the collar, pulls him in, hits him, pulls him in, hits him, and they just start fighting. And anyways, we have audio from it. It's a shortened version. Just a warning, if you do go find this video, the actual video swears a lot. We found a censored version. So this is that.
You guys need to get off the golf course.
Yeah, we will.
Go now.
Don't know.
Pack up. Go now. Get in the car and go.
I don't know what you're doing. You're not scaring anybody. You're just making yourself.
Hey, man. Come on, man. Hey.
Off to a good start, buddy. I
Told you. Man, leave him alone. You want another? You want to?
came at me.
Leave him alone, man. I got it all on record. It's around the goal. I got it all on record. Around the goal. Hey.
You want to go, guys?
Leave him alone. Hey, leave him alone, man.
I wouldn't keep going back, you moron.
Hey. Come on, man. No, I'm not trying to get in there. Like, just like.
Enough! Are you still cheering on you? Enough! Get out!
Hey.
Enough! Things go well for him.
Leave him.
Get him the out of here! No, it's not going to go well for him.
It's not okay.
Take him home or get him out of here. Get moving! I said stop looking like an idiot!
Get out of here.
Just so you know, couple things to point out. You can hear him get thrown in the water. You can hear the splash. The other thing, when you hear the bang followed by a noise, that's him. Every time he punched him in the face, he yelled bang. So that was funny. But there's a turn, Alex. While we were in the break, I found out that the guy that got beat up issued an apology video.
Oh.
So that is fresh off the news press just a couple hours ago. This is what he had to say.
Yep, that's me, guys. The guy that got dropped like a bucket of balls in a pond. Not my finest moment, I know. Looks real bad. Played 36 holes of golf. We drank way too much, and my mouth ran faster than my brain. All jokes aside, guys, I'd like to apologize to all the folks on the course, anyone caught up in it, and anyone who had to deal with me that day. I lost my cool, and I've learned from it. Just one of those days where you should have kept the cart on the path, you know. Stay hydrated, keep your stick on the ice, maybe stick to 18.
You know, I love the Canadian accent.
Oh, man.
Got dropped like a bucket of balls.
That's exactly how... That's exactly what I thought would have happened, right? You're... First of all, a couple things to take away from that. Don't act like a drunk moron.
Yeah.
Drink responsibly. Second of all, don't ever pick a fight with a professional hockey player or a former professional hockey player. Like,
well, that's what's scary about picking fights is you never know what people's backgrounds are.
Right.
Especially like a lot of former, I'm just bringing up like MMA or like boxing, you know, like those guys aren't like huge, you know.
Right.
So you could pick a fight with somebody, you know, my size. I'm 5'8", right? I'm pretty short, but like...
We don't condone fighting.
I don't have this background, but you never know. Like, if you pick a fight with somebody, even if they're smaller, like, what if they're trained? You know, it's not going to go well for you.
No, don't fight. And if you are in a situation where you have to fight, just make sure it's not a former NHL enforcer.
Make sure it's not a 6'2", 230... goon.
Oh, and then the fact that he's the one who got beat up and had to issue the apology.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, my bad.
So
wild.
So Tarnasky is he's an assistant coach for a U17 hockey team in Alberta, and they are investigating this fight just to make sure, you know, because he's kind of a public figure, just to make sure everything's okay. They released a statement. We are aware of a video circulating on social media involving a coach with Red Deer Minor Hockey. At this time, given that we understand the matter is being reviewed by local policing authorities and we are conducting our own internal investigation into the alleged incident, we will have no further comments. So hopefully all's well. I think it was self-defense.
Seems that way.
Might have gone a little overboard, but yeah, don't pick fights.
Seems that way.
Real quick, Alex, you had a technical foul for us, and I love this one.
Yes. So I haven't heard or seen anybody lose their digits over the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has their fingers, right? But Najee Harris, he had a little bit of an incident with the firework over the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
And so the reports first came out and said that there was a firework incident, a mishap happened, and there was a person who was hospitalized with injuries, and then it turns out that person was Najee Harris, and he sustained a superficial eye injury, but is fully expected to be ready for the upcoming NFL season.
He's on the Chargers now. He was with the Steelers for a bit. So this was weird because I started seeing all these jokes about like how many yards will Najee Harris rush for this season. And the picture of him, you know, it's his headshot, but he's got an eye patch on. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? And then people are talking about fantasy football and stuff. And I'm like, did something happen? Then there are these reports, and initially they were saying that he lost an eye.
Right, yes.
And I was like, no way.
Yes.
But now his agent released that statement that you just said, superficial eye injury. So that means it's, you know, on the outside, nothing internally is damaged. I don't know exactly what that means as far as medical stuff and how his vision is going to be impacted. All of that it says at the end is he is expected to be ready for the NFL season. Just for fun, I did Google, has an NFL player ever had only one eye? There's been a few. One of them, Wesley Walker, played for the New York Jets. He was a wide receiver. He was legally blind in one eye. 13-year career for him. Been a couple other players. completely blind in one eye. So there are instances of playing in the NFL with one eye.
There you go. It's possible.
So we'll see.
It is funny because the initial people on social media were taking it out of proportion.
Yeah.
And saying that he lost the eye. And enough so that the agent had to come out and be like, hey, you know what? Like, he's fine. It's a superficial eye injury. He's going to play.
Fine being the, what exactly does that mean?
Yes.
But we'll see.
We still don't know the extent of the injury.
Yeah.
But obviously he's doing well enough that he's going to be playing when the season starts up. So, that's good news. I
looked more into this incident. Apparently there were some more serious injuries. I think somebody did lose a hand or fingers.
Oh.
So that's very unfortunate. I hate the fireworks stories of people getting injured, and it happens every year. Of course, Jason Pierre-Paul, NFL player, is one of the more notable stories. Completely blew up his hand. He lost, I think, 2.5 or 3.5 fingers. But, I mean, fortunately for him, he was able to come back and still enjoy a very successful and productive career after that. He still had double-digit sack seasons with 1.5 hands. So that's pretty crazy. But anyway, we'll see what Najee Harris does, I guess. Hopefully all is well. And then wishing for the best for the people that were actually injured.
Yes, absolutely. Before we make fun of this, I guess,
we already made fun of it.
We already made fun
afterward.
of it. After the fact, we hope everybody's okay. And we wish our best.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up next, Alex, let's get into the Utah Jazz and Summer League. They played their first game in Las Vegas Summer League last night. Of course, Salt Lake Summer League wrapped. We'll get into that next. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.